Hey, what's going on YouTube? I'm Darkjack, and in this video, I go nuclear on the map Raid in Black Ops 2. And I have a ton of Raid gameplay saved up on my hard drive, so I'm trying to get rid of some of it before Call of Duty Ghosts comes out. And in this video, what I want to talk about is why I'm not going to buy an Xbox One until Halo 5 comes out. And then only maybe. So I'm going to give you 12 reasons. And the first one is that on the Xbox One, whether or not you can trade in a game is up to the publisher, and only at participating retailers, whereas on PS4, you can trade in any game that you want. And I think publishers like EA are going to block or restrict used game sales and trade-ins, because they've been fighting against them for years with online passes. And so dropping them now is just an indication to me that they're going to restrict or limit used game sales in the future, or at the very least they're going to get a piece of the profit on used game sales. The second reason is that on PS4 it does not require you to have an online connection, whereas with the Xbox One an online connection is required, and you have to check in once every 24 hours. And Sony has made it clear that they will never have you check in online once every 24 hours, or else you'll be locked out of your games. And so the issue with the 24-hour DRM on the Xbox One, it's not just that it makes you have an internet connection required, but it's preparing their user base for cloud computing to offload and process data for all their games. And that is Microsoft's solution to future-proofing their console as the hardware ages. And so eventually, all Xbox One games will require an internet connection, and it will be always online in order to use cloud computing for their games. And the third reason is that while we can't predict the future problems with either console, Microsoft does have a future with hardware problems. Because with the Xbox 360, they had the red ring of death, because they did not thoroughly test their console before releasing it a year before PS3. And so it's possible that the Xbox One could have hardware problems. Whereas the PlayStation has learned their lesson and they've upgraded their security to prevent future potential hacks. So the fourth reason is that technically when you buy a game, you do not own that game, because what you're buying is a license to play the game. And with the 360, PS4, and PS3, unless it's a digital download, that license is tied to your disc. Whereas on the Xbox One, instead, like Steam, the license is going to be on your online account. And so what that means is that if your account gets stolen or hacked, you're going to lose access to your entire game library, and you'll have to work with Xbox support to get it back. Because your access to your games, the key that you enter to access the games, or however it works, is going to be tied to your account and not the disc. So if you lose your account, you could lose access to all your games. And it's possible that if you get banned, you could lose access to your accounts, or to your games. And I know Major Nelson has said that if your account gets banned, you would still have access to your games, but I honestly have to take that with a grain of salt, because Major Nelson is someone that cannot be trusted. He said on his Twitter account that Metal Gear Solid 4 would be exclusive to Xbox One, which is not true. It's going to be on PS4 as well. So take what he says with a grain of salt. And so another issue is that when you buy a game on Xbox One, are you just renting it for 20 years until they shut down the Xbox One servers? Or can you play it irrespective of what Sony or Microsoft do in the future? And with PS4, because the game is tied to your account, or to your disc, excuse me, that means that even if they shut down the servers, you can still play your game, because it's on the disc and not on your account. And the fifth reason is that, even though personally I prefer the Xbox controller because of its ergonomic design, on the PS4 there is going to be a way to play Xbox controllers on it, just like there is now with the PS3. Because you can use a device called a cross-battle adapter to play using an Xbox 360 controller on your PS3. And they are working on stuff like that for the PS4. And from what I've heard, both the PS4 and the Xbox One controller feel great. And the sixth reason is that the price of the Xbox One is pretty expensive. It's $500, $100 more than the PS4. And so the reason why it's more expensive is because of the Kinect add-on. And not very many people, I think, who are wanting to buy an Xbox One want to have the Kinect required at all times in order to be able to play. And also, because of Xbox Live Gold, you're going to have to pay a subscription fee in order to play your games. But with PlayStation Plus, even though it is required too for PS4, you're going to get lots of discounts and free games every month. So I think that makes it a much better value than Xbox Live Gold. The seventh reason is that even though it looks like the Xbox One is going to have a good game lineup, I thought that out of all the games that they showed, Titanfall was the best looking. Titanfall is not an Xbox One exclusive. Titanfall is going to come to Xbox 360 and PC as well. And looking at the games, Quantum Break and Sunset Overdrive, they haven't shown any of the gameplay yet. All that we've seen are in-game cutscenes. And while Rise may look good graphically, it was just one QuickTime event after another. It's not something that I'm interested in. And we don't know any information about Halo 5 multiplayer. And the maker behind Killer Instinct Double Helix has a pretty bad track record. I mean, they were the ones who have made lots of shovelware and licensed games. They made the Battleship game that was really terrible. And the eighth reason is that the PS4 is going to be backwards compatible with PS3 games in 2014 because of cloud streaming, whereas Microsoft has no plans for backwards compatibility, and the PSN network is only going to get better because Sony is going to have more money to upgrade their servers because of all that PlayStation Plus money they're going to get with the PS4. And the ninth reason is that while the Xbox One is likely going to release earlier than PS4, the Xbox One is rumored to be running into supply issues, and I'll put a link in the description. And so if it's true that by the time the Xbox One comes out, that they're all out of consoles for it, because the PS4 is going to be $100 cheaper, and it's going to be more readily available than the Xbox One, that means that the Xbox One is going to lose out to the PS4 big time, and lots of people are going to get that for the PS4 for Christmas rather than the Xbox One. And so because the PS4 is going to have a bigger user base, Sony is going to be able to argue more easily with companies for exclusive content on PS4. And the 10th reason is that with the PlayStation 4, even though the Xbox One is going to have DLC a month earlier on Battlefield and Call of Duty, the PlayStation also is getting exclusive content with Assassin's Creed and Destiny. And I think it's going to be easier for Sony to be able to argue for timed exclusives because of the higher user base on PS4. And the 11th reason is that Microsoft has filed a patent for their Kinect that allows them to charge fees for when users violate the terms of service regarding Netflix, because it's against the law for someone to use your Netflix account if it's not registered to them. And so they could use the Kinect as a form of visual DRM. And also, the Kinect is a marketer's dream come true because they could use it for personalized ads and detailed demographic info for companies to see who is playing and watching what on the Xbox One. And I think that's another reason why the Kinect is required. And I'll put a link to that in the description. And the 12th and final reason is that Sony is not about to change their policies on used games and not requiring an internet connection, because to do so would be put them at a huge disadvantage to Microsoft, because they would now be on a level playing field, and it's likely that the Xbox One is going to drop in price over time as they fix their supply issues. Whereas Microsoft cannot go back from an always online future, because that is the only way that they can allow used game sales if the game is tied to your account. Because the way it's supposed to work is that when you trade in a game on Xbox One, then the next time you check in online, the game key is removed from your account. So you have to buy it again. That way you couldn't trade in a game and then always have access to it. And cloud computing is Microsoft's answer to future-proofing. So Microsoft cannot go back from their always online future. They have now made their bed and they're going to have to lie in it. And so by the time Halo 5 comes out, a new model of the Xbox One will also likely be out with a larger hard drive that will be replaceable, and hopefully all the potential network and hardware problems will have been solved by then. And I think that what Halo 5 needs to do to be successful is they need to go back to Halo 3 and pretend as if Halo Reach and Halo 4 never existed, multiplayer-wise. They need to bring back the 1 to 50 ranking system with a built-in reporting system to prevent D-rankers. They need to reward winning rather than experience, Call of Duty style. They need to have the support of MLG with a dedicated MLG playlist. They need to bring back a Halo 3 style Living Dead playlist where the zombies are not overpowered. Because now they have the thruster pack and they have sprint and they have rolling, and it's really ridiculous. They need to bring back Double XP Weekend. They need to make it easier for people to download maps and game types over the internet, like Bungie.net in Halo 3 and Halo Reach. They cannot screw over bumper jumper users like myself. They need to drop armor abilities, drop the 3-tiered perk system, kill streaks, loadouts, and sprint, and they need to go back to the arena-style model instead of trying to be Call of Duty in space, while still innovating in other areas like new playlists, new maps, new weapons, and bringing Forge mode to single-player. They need to bring back power weapons and power-ups for every map, and they need to bring back the Halo 3 style DR and get rid of the DMR. If they did those things, then the Xbox One would certainly have my attention, and I would definitely buy one for Halo 5. I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary, and I'll see you guys later.